Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop chasing a woman, she suddenly starts paying attention? The second you pull back, she starts wondering where you went. And when you ignore her, that's when she can't get you out of her head. This is not a coincidence, it's psychology. More specifically, reverse psychology, and it's one of the most powerful tools a man can use when dealing with women. The truth is that women don't appreciate what comes easy. They crave challenge. They desire a man who isn't always available, a man who isn't desperate for her attention. The moment she feels like she completely has you, she loses interest. But when you pull back, that's when she starts chasing you. Think about how many times you have texted a woman first, tried to impress her, or given her constant attention, only to be ignored. But the moment you stop trying, she suddenly reaches out, asking where you've been or acting more interested in you. This happens because women are wired to chase what they can't fully have. It's human nature. When something is always available, it is taken for granted. But when something might slip away, it suddenly becomes valuable. Playing the pullback game makes a woman question herself. She starts wondering why you aren't texting like before, if she did something wrong, or if you're talking to someone else. The moment these thoughts enter her mind, you've already won. She starts craving your attention, and before she knows it, she is the one chasing you. Most men get this completely wrong. They think they need to prove their worth by constantly showing interest, texting first, or trying too hard to impress a woman. But the men who truly understand how women think know that less is more. They know that pulling back is far more attractive than chasing. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use reverse psychology on women in a way that makes them desperate for your attention. No games, no fake tactics, just a deep understanding of how attraction really works. By the time you're done watching, you'll know exactly how to flip the script and make her the one chasing you. Number 1. Women want what they can't have. Women are naturally drawn to what feels just out of reach. The moment something is too easy to get, it loses its value. This applies to everything in life, but especially to attraction. If a woman feels like she has you completely, she stops wanting you. But the second you become uncertain, unavailable, or just out of reach, she starts craving you more. This is why the men who are too nice, too available, and too predictable get left behind. Women may claim they want a man who is always there for them, but deep down, they are wired to chase a man they feel isn't fully theirs yet. It's the thrill of the unknown that keeps her interested. A woman doesn't fantasize about the guy who constantly texts her, compliments her, and waits on her every move. She fantasizes about the man who keeps her guessing. She thinks about the one who is sometimes there, but sometimes distant. She becomes obsessed with trying to figure him out. If you make yourself too easy to get, she will lose interest. But if you create some distance and make her feel like she has to work to win you over, she will value you more. This doesn't mean playing childish games or being rude. It means having a mindset that you are the prize, and she has to earn your attention just as much as you earn hers. Imagine this. A man meets a woman and immediately showers her with compliments, texts her all day, and is always available when she wants to talk. At first, she may enjoy the attention, but soon she starts pulling away. She doesn't feel excited anymore because she knows she already has him. Now, picture another man who talks to the same woman but doesn't chase. He responds when he wants to, keeps conversation short, and doesn't make her the center of his world. Suddenly, she finds herself thinking about him more. She wonders why he isn't acting like every other guy. She starts checking her phone, hoping for his message. Before she knows it, she's the one chasing him. The moment a woman feels she can't fully have you, she wants you more. This is how attraction works, and the men who understand this always have the upper hand. Number 2. Attention kills attraction. It sounds counterintuitive, right? You would think that showering a woman with attention would make her like you more, but here's the truth. Too much attention kills attraction. When you're constantly available, texting her all day and chasing her every move, she starts to take you for granted. You become predictable, and predictability doesn't spark desire. Think about it. When something is always there, it loses its appeal. You're no longer mysterious. Instead of wondering if you're thinking about her, she knows you're always thinking about her, and the more you give, the less she feels she has to earn it. Attraction thrives on mystery and challenge, not constant validation. When you overdo it, you essentially place yourself in a friend zone mindset. You're no longer the guy who has his own life, interests, and boundaries. You become the guy who's always ready to drop everything for her. This makes her feel like she has control, and that's the last thing you want. Women are drawn to men who have their own lives, priorities, and confidence. Men who don't revolve around them. Take this situation. A guy meets a woman and texts her non-stop, trying to be funny and available. He replies to her texts instantly, asks her what she's doing all the time, and goes out of his way to make her feel special. In the beginning, she might enjoy the attention, but eventually, it starts feeling like a chore. She knows exactly what to expect from him. There's no excitement, there's no chase. On the flip side, imagine another guy who doesn't constantly check his phone or text her non-stop. He has his own schedule, his own hobbies, and his own friends. He responds to her when it makes sense, not just because he feels obligated. His responses are short, but not rude. He's still engaging, but he doesn't allow her to think he's always available. She starts wondering why he's not glued to his phone, why he doesn't drop everything for her. The less he gives, the more she wants. In the end, it's not the guy who gives the most attention that wins. It's the guy who makes her earn it, leaving her wanting more. Less is more when it comes to attraction. Number 3, ignoring her triggers. Obsession. Sometimes, the best thing you can do when a woman seems distant or unresponsive is absolutely nothing. I know it sounds a bit strange, but ignoring her has a strange way of triggering obsession. When you pull away and give her space, it forces her to think about you. Suddenly, you're no longer always there to respond to her messages or answer her calls. You're not predictable anymore, and that creates uncertainty. Uncertainty makes her wonder, and when she starts wondering, her mind starts to race. It's almost as if she becomes obsessed with figuring you out. The thing is, women don't like being in a position where they don't have control, and when you go silent, you take back that power. You're no longer offering the reassurance they've grown used to. They start questioning themselves. Did I do something wrong? Why isn't he texting me? The more you ignore her, the more she starts to feel like she has to win you back. The chase begins. Now, don't mistake this for playing games or being cold. It's not about being rude or deliberately ignoring her for no reason. It's about creating space. It's about being a little less available, not because you're punishing her, but because you understand the power of mystery and distance. In a world where we're all constantly connected and accessible through our phones, having that space can make you seem like something rare. And that's exactly what women find attractive. The idea that they can't fully have you, that they need to put in a bit of effort to keep your attention. When you ignore her, you force her to reflect on your relationship with her. Does she miss you? Is she thinking about you as much as you're thinking about her? When you're always around, she doesn't have the time or the space to think. But when you stop being so available, the ball is in her court. Ignoring her, in a way, makes her obsess over what she's lost. She begins to wonder why you haven't texted, why you haven't asked her out, and what changed. That curiosity becomes an itch that she just can't scratch. It drives her to want you more, and the more you make her work for your attention, the more she starts craving it. Number 4, she values you more. When you're scarce men, let's be real for a second. You've probably been guilty of this at one point or another, giving away your time, energy, and attention like it's an endless supply. You've probably bent over backward, putting her first, dropping everything just to be there for her. You might even believe that this will make her appreciate you more. But in reality, all you're doing is making yourself too available. And when you're too available, you stop being valuable. Here's the harsh truth. She values you more when you're scarce. When you're constantly around, always at her beck and call, you lose your power. You're no longer the man who has his own life, his own goals, and his own sense of purpose. You become the guy who revolves around her, and the moment you do that, she starts to take you for granted. You stop being the challenge. You stop being the guy she has to fight for. Wake up, because this is the reality you need to face. Women don't want a man who is always available. They want a man who has his own life, a man who isn't afraid to say no, a man who isn't desperate for her attention. You might think that by giving her all your time and effort, you'll make her feel special. But what you're really doing is turning yourself into a convenience. When she knows she can count on you to be there whenever she wants, you become predictable. Predictability is the opposite of attraction. If you want to be the man she values, you need to start saying no. You need to have boundaries and make your time matter. Stop answering every text instantly. Don't drop everything to hang out with her just because she asks. Have your own schedule, your own plans, and make it clear that you are not easily available. When you do this, she will start to see you as someone who has a life of his own, someone who isn't there to chase her around, and that will make her want you even more. It's time to wake up and stop acting like a guy who needs to please her 24/7. The more you make yourself scarce, the more she will value your time. She will respect you more, and ultimately, she will crave your attention. So start showing up for yourself first, and watch her chase you instead. Number 5, pulling back makes her chase. Here's a simple truth that most guys don't get. If you want her to chase you, you have to pull back. It sounds like common sense, but it's one of the most overlooked strategies in dating. Too many men are stuck in this cycle of constantly pursuing, constantly reaching out, and always trying to make things happen. But guess what? When you chase her, you lose. Men, let me break it to you. Women don't chase guys who are always around. It's the guys who step back, who give her space, that get the chase started. When you're constantly texting, calling, or asking her to hang out, you're showing her that you're the one putting in all the effort. That's not attractive. The more you do this, the more you're putting her in a position where she doesn't have to chase. And guess what happens when she doesn't have to chase? She starts losing interest. The moment you pull back and stop chasing, it shifts the dynamic. She starts to wonder what's going on. She wonders why you're not texting as much, why you're not asking her out, why she doesn't hear from you as often. The uncertainty you create makes her start chasing. She starts to feel like she has to work to get your attention, and that's when things get interesting. If you want her to think about you more, if you want her to desire you more, you need to stop making it so easy for her. Women love a good challenge. They love the excitement that comes with wondering where you've been and what you've been up to. When you're the one pulling back, when you're the one creating the mystery, it forces her to take the lead. She starts thinking, what's going on with him? Does he like me as much as I thought? And the more she thinks, the more she chases. This isn't about being manipulative or playing games. It's about creating natural attraction. You don't need to be desperate. You don't need to chase after her like a puppy. When you pull back, you put the power back in your hands. She starts chasing, and that's when the relationship truly starts to shift in your favor. So stop making it so easy for her to have you. Pull back, let her chase, and watch how the dynamic between you two changes. Number 6, jealousy increases desire. It's uncomfortable, but true. Jealousy increases desire. You've probably felt it before. The moment you see her talking to another guy, even if just for a second, something inside you shifts. You feel that spark of jealousy, and suddenly, you want her more. It's a natural human reaction, and it applies just as strongly to women. When she senses you might be interested in someone else, her desire for you spikes. The key here is not about playing games or trying to make her jealous on purpose. It's about understanding the psychological trigger that jealousy taps into. When a woman starts to feel like she's losing your attention, or when she sees that you have other options, she starts to realize your value. The truth is, women want what they can't have, and when they sense someone else might be interested in you, they suddenly feel a sense of competition. This makes them realize that they could lose you, and that fear of loss sparks attraction. Let's face it, if you're always available, always giving her attention, and always focused solely on her, she knows exactly what to expect. There's no excitement. But when she sees that you're not exclusively focused on her, she wonders, am I the only one he's interested in? What if he's talking to someone else? And that small feeling of uncertainty can drive her crazy. Now, you don't have to go out of your way to make her feel jealous, but it's important to recognize that having a life outside of her is incredibly attractive. When you're out with friends, focused on your work, or meeting new people, she can't help but notice the subtle shift in your attention. It's this little bit of distance that ignites her interest. For example, imagine this. You're out at a party, having a good time with friends, and you casually chat with other women. You're not overdoing it, but there's just enough attention going around to spark her curiosity. The next time she sees you, she might not be able to hide the fact that she's paying more attention to you. She starts to wonder if she's losing her place in your life, and that uncertainty fuels her desire to get closer to you. Remember, jealousy works because it triggers fear of loss, and when that fear kicks in, it makes her chase you even more. Number 7, silence is more powerful than words. It's easy to think that the more you say, the more you'll connect with a woman. You might believe that if you text her constantly, send her long messages, or fill the silence with endless words, it will show her how interested you are. But the truth is, silence is more powerful than words. When you stop filling every moment with chatter, you start creating space. And that space, it makes her wonder. It makes her ask herself questions. Why isn't he texting me like before? Is he losing interest? The less you say, the more she starts to fill in the gaps. She starts to wonder why you're being distant or what you've been up to. She wonders if you're still thinking about her. Here's the thing. Silence creates intrigue. It makes you appear more mysterious and in control. Instead of bombarding her with constant texts or updates about your life, you let her wonder. You let her think about you when you're not there. When you're silent, you're not just holding back your words, you're holding back your attention. And that's a much stronger signal than any message you could send. This isn't about playing hard to get or being purposefully cold. It's about respecting your own time and not needing to constantly communicate to show your value. When you stop texting first every time, when you don't feel the urge to fill every silence with conversation, you start showing her that you're not desperate for her attention. You've got your own life, your own rhythm, and that's incredibly attractive. In relationships, constant communication can become suffocating. The more you talk, the less room there is for her to think about you. When you pull back, even just a little, you create mystery, and that mystery breeds desire. So, next time you feel like reaching out just to say something, don't. Let the silence linger. Let her wonder if you're thinking about her. When you give her the space to miss you, you're giving her the chance to start chasing you. Silence doesn't mean you've lost interest. It means you've learned the power of letting her do the work. And believe me, when she starts filling in those silences with her own thoughts, you'll be more on her mind than ever. Here's the bottom line, and it's going to sound harsh, but it's true. If you're constantly chasing a woman, you're already losing. No matter how much you think you're doing the right thing, no matter how many texts you send or how often you're available, you're simply pushing her away. You're not the prize. She is. The sooner you realize that your time and attention are valuable, the sooner you'll stop chasing and start attracting. If you're tired of always being the one to initiate, always being the one who gives more than you receive, then it's time to change things up. Pull back, create distance, and watch her start chasing you. It's not manipulation. It's understanding human nature. Women are drawn to men who have their own lives, their own confidence, and their own boundaries. Now, I want to hear from you.